Hello everyone, hope that you can hear me. Nice to meet you once again in Wise Crypto. So just to wait guys, hope that he will join soon. We are just waiting for our honorable speaker, but don't go anywhere actually, stay tuned. Hello sir, can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, good day, happy to be here.
Great to be here.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think we can start if you're ready then. First of all, I'd like to thank you everyone for having here in Wise Crypto community. And also, guys, today we'll discuss more about the Sovereign, their plan and programs, and also how they're working so far. And here is Yago, our honorable speaker today. The first of all, could you please introduce yourself, like how do you connect this project and also your experience a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in Bitcoin now for longer than I'd like to admit. I was working on a startup in machine learning 14 years ago, back in 2011, and I was reading papers about network science, and I came across this paper. It was called the Bitcoin White Paper, and I read it, and it blew my mind. I realized that it was talking about the biggest revolution that I could imagine, the ability to create digital property rights and the um, the ability to create property rights for the internet. And I immediately concluded that this was probably going to be, the thing I would spend the rest of my life working on. And I've indeed been working on Bitcoin ever since. I started a few companies in the space. I've helped lobby in the space. Um, Started one of the first remittance companies. For the last 3 years, I've been working as part of a community of open source developers building the largest and first DeFi ecosystem for Bitcoin. We've built DEX, lending, Bitcoin-backed stablecoins, and recently, just a few days ago, we released a white paper showing how we can also bring rollups to Bitcoin. And so what we're doing is we're bringing the full power of programmability to Bitcoin, and we believe that Bitcoin has been very limited for many years in terms of what it can do, but that is changing rapidly now. And unquestionably, Bitcoin is going to become the platform for the next internet, an internet with property rights, an internet where people can transfer funds, and an internet which is going to allow us to build a whole world of decentralized applications and a decentralized economy.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for explaining everything about Sovereign. So people make your own research, join their community and learn more. Like you can see, like you'll be able to see a lot of news about their, like I can their project in their Twitter actually. So just go for it. So could you explain how does your Sovereign focus on being built on the Bitcoin, differentiate it from other decentralized exchanges in the market?
Yeah, so in two primary ways. First question is why build on Bitcoin at all? And I think that that is the wrong question. Um, the actual question is why build anywhere else? So if you look at the history of crypto, right, we've got now 15 years of projects coming and going. Some of the largest projects in the world were number two or number three market cap on Coin Market Cap, and they've completely disappeared, like EOS or like Neo. Others have, come and gone, kind of like Ripple or Cardano. Um, the only thing which has been consistent throughout this period is that Bitcoin has remained the biggest user base, the biggest brand, the highest security. And the reason is Bitcoin is the only one which isn't designed primarily as a technology platform. It's designed first and foremost as a property rights platform. And so it's reliable. It's designed to last for generations. It doesn't change. It doesn't get more complicated. Developers can fully understand its entire code base. And that is what you want from a system which is going to be the basis of property rights for everyone, for a system in which you build an economy in which you can make investments, where you can hold your retirement or make multi-decade investments. But we have seen an entire crypto ecosystem grow. And so the question is why? And And the reason is that all of these different platforms have basically come out of an attempt to answer a single question. What can Bitcoin not do? Right? So Bitcoin couldn't work with institutions and banks, Ripple. Bitcoin can't do privacy, Monero. Bitcoin can't do smart contracts, Ethereum. Um, and so, there's been this whole effort to try and introduce new systems like proof of stake or smart contracts on other systems because you couldn't do it on Bitcoin. And now what we're starting to see, we've seen NFTs come to Bitcoin, we've seen tokens come to Bitcoin, we're seeing rollups and smart contracts come to Bitcoin. That whole system is changing. You can now build with the full security and reliability and unchanging environment of Bitcoin, but you can now do everything on it. And I think that this is a very, very important point. It's like the crypto Bitcoin ecosystem is maturing now to the point where we're going to start, instead of seeing fragmentation of more and more chains, we're going to start seeing consolidation. And what that means is that more and more rollups, more and more chains, more and more projects are going to either migrate into the Bitcoin ecosystem over the next year, over the next 2 years, or they're just going to be launched in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So when you're building on Bitcoin, you know that you're building something which can last for decades. You know that you're building in the biggest ecosystem, but also the most untapped ecosystem, and therefore the ecosystem with the most potential upsides, the most opportunity. And you're building in the ecosystem which has the largest number of users and the highest brand trust and familiarity in the world. And so now that the opportunity for that is opening up, we are almost certainly going to see a massive migration of developer energy, effort, and capital into the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Thank you for explaining everything. So I think nowadays people are looking for decentralized platform, like there is no controller actually. So that's how nowadays so many projects are being just decentralized. So if I know more about, like, as a far I know, you are providing a lot of facilities or tools for the user. So what specific financial tools does Sovereign offer to its users? And how do they contribute to the platform's innovation within the decentralized finance space?
DeFi isn't that complicated. There are not that many tools that people want as their base, sort of as the base functions in Bitcoin, right? You need to be able to have trading, so you need to have DEX. You need to have lending. You need to have stable coins. And you need to have the ability to have DAOs with staking. And you need to have the ability to earn yield. These are basically the key primitives that the Sovereign community has built. So Sovereign has built a Bitcoin DEX, and you can trade many assets there, including stable coins and ETH, but also Bitcoin native assets like runes and of course BTC. Um, the same thing with a lending platform. Same thing with margin trading. And then where we start to get really unique is the world's best stablecoin. Best stablecoin because it's fully decentralized, secured by Bitcoin, and collateralized by BTC. That's called the sovereign dollar. And um, probably one of the world's, if not the most decentralized DAO in the world. A DAO which is fully decentralized, where the stakers actually are in control and no, there's no company, there's no foundation. It's really a true pure play decentralized community, and that's the sovereign DAO, the Bitocracy. And so we've built all of those things over the last 3 years, and in addition to that, we've built a really easy UI. Users, when they try it out, they love it. It's really easy to use. It makes it easy for you to secure your funds, and it has one of the highest levels of security of any system in the world. So we've taken a very Bitcoin-centric approach to security, but we've also put a huge emphasis on making it easy for anyone to use because we believe that you shouldn't have to be technical in order to be free.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I can see explained very well. So, like, yeah, Gil, do you have any kind of native token right now, actually? If yes, could you share some of information about this, like where can people collect, and also the plan, everything about your token.
Yeah, of course. So you can't build a decentralized system if you don't give many people, all people, the ability to be part of the system. And the way to do that is by handing over ownership of the system to the stakeholders. And so with Sovryn, we have the SOV token. SOV is a token that you can trade, you can hold, but most importantly, you can stake. And when you stake, you first of all earn BTC because the protocol earns yield in the form of trading and lending fees, and it pays that in the form of Bitcoin to stakers. So there's no inflationary staking here. This is yield that you earn because the protocol is profitable, and you get paid out in BTC. And it gives you governance control over the system and a right and a voice to participate in the community and to decide the direction. But most importantly, to help secure the system from any kind of centralized control or attacker. Um, so um, Sovryn is currently deployed on two chains, both Bitcoin focused, Rootstock, and more recently, we just launched on Bob, built on Bitcoin chain, which is a Bitcoin focused Ethereum rollup. And you can stake on both of those chains. There's currently a minimum yield of 9%, but in practice, everyone who is a max staker earns more than that. And um, and then to access SOV, it's available on exchanges like Gate or MXC, on Uniswap, but most importantly, and where the deepest liquidity is, it's available on the Sovereign DEX itself.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So, guys, if you want, you can purchase their token and also visit their community definitely. So I think security is very, very important for any project, you know. So, like, if I talk more about your security system, like, can you elaborate how your sovereign ensure the security of user funds and also transaction within its decentralized exchange ecosystem?
So our approach to security is, the approach that you would expect a Bitcoin-focused community to take. We're against move fast and break things. We believe move fast and sorry, we believe in moving carefully and securing things. And so everything that we do is audited multiple times, internally and externally. We write many we have a test suite that tests everything that we write. We have one of the most comprehensive test suites for software anywhere. Um, we have $1 million bug bounty, so we offer $1 million to anyone who can find flaws in our system or show ways that you could exploit the system. Our code base is 100% open source. Everything, the UI, the smart contracts, the infrastructure is all open source. And Um, we've been running live for over 3 years now, and no user has ever lost funds. And then on top of that, we have a monitoring system which we can use in case anything still goes wrong, because there can always be problems with software. There can always be problems with code. And so we've built a monitoring systems that allow us to interdict any exploit. And in fact, we had a situation where this occurred. So there was a attempt to exploit um, the sovereign DApp. We managed to detect it, and we managed to recover most of the funds, and no user lost any funds.
Okay, so nothing to worry about. Like your money and your funds will be safe in sovereign. So like as he mentioned, like they have monitoring system and everything, and so no worries about this actually. Okay, so if I talk
So
more
hold
about
on, sorry. I don't think I agree
yeah.
with you. It's not that there are no worries. There are a lot of worries. First of all, we worry about it all
Okay.
the time. Second, every single user needs to be aware that when you're using any system, a centralized system, you're definitely at risk. I mean, look at FTX, look at BlockFi, look at Celsius. Your funds are at risk, 100%. Right? If you're holding funds in Tether, your funds are at risk. But also, when you use DeFi systems, when you use bridges, your funds are at risk. And one of the most important things that a user can do is try and assess where are they going to be most secure. So I don't think it's no worries. I think Yes, we're very worried, and everyone should be very worried about security. And I think what you need to try and identify is those projects that take security seriously and take decentralization seriously.
Yeah, definitely. Like you have to find out like how secure they are actually. So guys, make your own research. Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So there is another good question I can say. So like, however, does your sovereign enables users to engage in trading, lending, and borrowing, and also I can see the margin trading activities within all the Bitcoin system. So could you explain little bit more?
Yeah, so in addition to just standard trading, Sovereign also has introduced more advanced trading systems like margin trading, like limit orders. Um, we've just introduced DEX 2.0, which is one of the most advanced DEXs in the world. It brings together Uniswap v2 style trading, Uniswap v3 style trading, and limit orders to create an order book. All of that gets concentrated into one place so that if you're a liquidity provider, you are able to earn more money. And if you are a trader, you're able to do so at lower slippage. And in addition to lower slippage, our system is the most gas efficient system in the world, um, much, much cheaper even than Uniswap v2. Um, and what that does is it creates opportunities also for other kinds of trading, like margin trading or leverage trading. Leverage traders, they borrow funds in order to trade with leverage, and so that creates borrowing demand. And so if you have stable coins, you can lend those stable coins in Sovereign and earn 11% yield at very, very low risk. It's basically over collateralized. There's no centralized party can run away with your funds. It's probably the lowest risk way that you can lend in the world, but it's also got one of the highest yields. And with your Bitcoin, we're one of the only places in the world where you can actually earn significant yield on your Bitcoin. We're currently able to offer sometimes as high as 4% annualized yield on Bitcoin. And that's really the goal here. The goal here is to provide people with the freedom to be able to put their money to work, take control of their financial lives, become financially sovereign, and get their money to work for them. Most importantly, get the best money to work for them, which is Bitcoin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for explaining. So I'd like to say people make your own research. They have their website and also they have their white paper also where you can able to like you'll be able to know more. So just join their community. Don't forget to do this actually. Okay, so can you explain how the custom built bridge developed by sovereign facilities, the movement of runes tokens between the Bitcoin maintain and also the sovereign DEX?
Sure, one of the things that I think most of the world still isn't aware of is that Bitcoin has a token standard now. In fact, it's got several, but the most popular, the most important one is the Runes token standard. And what is the Runes token standard? It's like ERC20 for Bitcoin. What that means is that if you think back to 2015, 2016, 2017, the Ethereum ecosystem exploded because they introduced the token standard ERC20. People could start doing ICOs, people could start launching tokens, people could start doing DAOs. And a huge economy, a huge ecosystem was built on Ethereum. Now, that entire ecosystem, including all of the ETH and all of these tokens, is still smaller than Bitcoin. But now, you can see the same thing happen on Bitcoin, probably on a much larger scale. And this is likely to happen with the Runes token standard. And so what we've done is we've made it possible to take runes, introduce them into our DEX, and trade them there so that you can stay in the Bitcoin environment, but you can trade um, with the speed of a centralized exchange in a decentralized way. You never need to give up custody of your funds. Um, and there's always liquidity available for you, and all of this can be done at very, very low cost. And so our goal, I think the one way that you can think about what Sovereign is doing, in addition to sort of trying, bringing all of these tooling, you can think about DEX as sort of like the early version of Uniswap for Bitcoin. You can think of our stablecoin as the early version of DAI for Bitcoin. And you can think of our lending protocol as the early version of Aave for Bitcoin. And there's a very, very big DeFi market which is going to grow in Bitcoin over the next year. In fact, I think this bull market, we're likely to see Bitcoin be the major narrative because it suddenly got all of these new tools. And that's a game changer for the entire crypto space. And right now, Sovereign is the leader in this, and we expect that it will continue to be the leader. So we've basically integrated the most important parts of DeFi and are bringing them, have brought them, and have been successfully executing them on Bitcoin for 3 years.
Okay, yeah, happy to know about this. Thank you. So, best wishes to your sovereign for the future. So, like, in what ways does your sovereign suite of financial tools that empowers users to participate more actively in the Bitcoin economy, like while maintaining the control over their assets?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, definitely. I asked about like, in what ways does the sovereign suite of the financial tools empower users to participate more actively in the Bitcoin economy while maintaining their over control their over asset actually?
Well, if you think about Bitcoin, one of the unusual things about it is the largest asset class and the largest ecosystem in crypto, but the vast majority of Bitcoin is currently not being utilized, right? So if you look at Ethereum or if you look at Solana, like let's take Solana for example, right? 80% of all of the SOL is staked in, you know, SOL staking, and then a very significant portion of the rest of SOL tokens are on lending platforms or trading platforms uh, in DeFi. In Ethereum too, we see that the majority of tokens are in DeFi platforms or in staking platforms. But with Bitcoin, it's different. Bitcoin is a massive $1 trillion asset, most of which has not been put to work yet because there haven't been ways to put Bitcoin to work safely. And that is the big change that is happening now. And so the opportunity for Bitcoin holders is now to start putting their Bitcoin to work, earning yield, borrowing against it. Just to take one example, Bitcoin-backed stablecoins allow you to borrow dollars against your Bitcoin, which means you never need to sell your Bitcoin. And we're going to see a switch from a world in which people who need money but have Bitcoin, instead of selling their Bitcoin, they're going to borrow against their Bitcoin because they know the value of Bitcoin is going to rise and they don't want to sell it. And so this is going to massively constrain the the supply of Bitcoin on the market. It's going to become harder to buy Bitcoin because it's going to become less popular to sell it. Another thing that's going to do that is the ability to earn yield on your Bitcoin through staking, through lending. Again, that's going to constrain the supply of Bitcoin on the market, making there less Bitcoin and ultimately the price rise. And so in the Bitcoin ecosystem is a really exciting opportunity now to build the world's largest DeFi ecosystem. As a result, to see the price of Bitcoin increase, and as you're holding Bitcoin, which is increasing in price, to also earn yield against it. This is a completely new kind of Bitcoin universe for us.
Okay, yeah. Thank you once again. So people just get ready with your best question. If you have anything else that you want to know more about Sovereign and their plan and programs, anything, just get ready. Here's the last question from my end. So what is your future plan? I think like you have your long-term plan for 2024 and also after that. So could you explain, according to your roadmap, what is your future development plan for now?
We have three primary goals for this year. The first is to become the leading uh, DEX for runes. Runes are new. They've only been around for a few days at this point, but they are already a multi-$100 million market and growing. And so our goal is to provide a DEX which allows people to use runes and to be the leading DEX for runes. The second thing is to grow the Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. A lot of people are holding Tether, which is inherently risky. It will be fine tomorrow, it will be fine the next day, but what happens after that when the banks confiscate their funds or freeze their funds because of something that a regulator said, um, or when they get banned, or when they start themselves, requiring KYC or banning transactions or confiscating user funds in the same way that PayPal does because they're under regulatory pressure. So we don't know when that happens, but it's going to happen. And so it's much more secure to hold a truly decentralized stablecoin backed by the world's best asset. And so our second goal is help more people get their hands on the sovereign dollar. And then the third thing, and maybe the most exciting, certainly the biggest story, is we're going to be bringing rollups to Bitcoin. And a number of projects are already working with us to develop rollups, to develop EVM rollups, DeFi-focused rollups, privacy-focused rollups, and build an entire ecosystem, including like things that can replicate Solana or replicate Aptos, make Bitcoin transactions super fast, super cheap, super performant, and have any kind of smart contract be able to be built on Bitcoin. Truly bring permissionless and scalable innovation to Bitcoin this year. That's going to happen. That's probably our biggest goal. And we think that as more and more people recognize that we are doing this, and then as we bring these technologies to markets, it's going to be an earthquake event, changing for a lot of people how they think about Bitcoin and how they think about the crypto market in general.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for answering all of my questions. So it's time to take some questions from the community. I can see here they're eagerly waiting for you. First one is Raymond. Hey, Raymond, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Ask your question, please.
Okay, my question is, do you have an ambassador program in which we can participate?
We don't have an ambassador program. Anyone can be an ambassador of Sovryn. It's a truly open community. The easiest way to get involved is to just jump into one of our Telegram groups or into our Discord group, and you can participate. There's frequently ways to earn within Sovryn. Most recently, there was a way that you could have earned the power token that just recently ended. So what I would suggest is following us on Twitter, jumping into Telegram and Discord, becoming part of the community, because there's a lot of exciting things happening with Sovryn all the time.
Okay, I'll follow up. Where can I get your link to join your community?
I will add here into this group. I'll try and add
And
a
yeah.
relevant tweet.
And Raymond, I think you'll find in our Wise Crypto, like we made an announcement about this EMA session. You can see there. They have that Twitter and other social media link. You'll find out in our Wise Crypto.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Keep growing.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The next one is Osborne. Hey, Osborne.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How many chains are currently live on your platform? And how does your platform ensure optimal pricing for users when trading tokens across different chains?
So there's no chains currently live on our platform, because the technology isn't ready yet. Just a few days ago, we released a white paper explaining some of the technical advances that we've made towards building rollups in Bitcoin, and how we're making it a reality. But this is something that we've been working on for several years now, and it's now coming to a point where we'll be able to introduce it to the world. The way that we provide security in terms of bridging, we believe that bridging in the way it's currently done today is completely and fundamentally broken. Every time that you're bridging, you're taking on huge amounts of risk, and you're basically giving up the advantages of blockchain at all, because you're going back to centralized or semi-centralized players who are holding your funds for you. And so instead, we're building a system called the Merkle Mesh. And what Merkle Mesh does is, because all of the rollups will be secured by Bitcoin, by the same chain, and all have Bitcoin security, it will allow movement of funds between all of these rollups in a way which is trustless, which is secure, and which feels like you're basically just using one big super chain. So the experience for users will be that there is no bridging. you're able to just use any dApp within the entire Bitcoin ecosystem securely as if it was all just one chain.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yep, thank you. The next one is Brander. Hey, Brander.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Ask your question, please.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing me up to ask my question. So my question is, what are the marketing strategies and programs you are planning to attract new users?
Um, well, what we are doing is a large number of things. We're publishing papers. We publish some of the best content in terms of um, uh, information and blog posts around how to use the new innovations occurring in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We have a very active community which posts about us and helps drive awareness of Sovryn. We speak on AMAs like this one. Um, Ultimately, what we're doing is very innovative, and we're leading in our particular space. And we need people to hear that. And so, like you can see in this particular conversation, right, what we're doing is we're reaching new audiences, introducing them to the changes that are happening to Bitcoin, to how Sovryn is helping to lead these changes. And that's the most important thing. It's basically education and informing people.
Okay, yep, thank you, Brander, for your question. Next one is Amber. Hey, Amber.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, hi. Ask your question, please.
Okay, my question is, could you provide an insight into the technology behind your project and how does it leverage AI and blockchain to create a seamless virtual experience?
Yeah, sure. So maybe not everyone on the who's listening knows what a rollup is, but if you think about chains today, Bitcoin's got BTC, Ethereum's got ETH, Solana's got Sol. With Bitcoin, miners are incentivized to mine Bitcoin and they get paid in BTC. With Ethereum and Solana, there's proof of stake system, which is risky because it creates control for, the richest people who hold the most tokens. Whereas, proof of work doesn't do that, and that's why proof of work is more secure. But what is a rollup? So a rollup is effectively a chain, but instead of creating a new consensus mechanism like a proof of stake or a proof of work mechanism, instead of having to have new miners or new verifiers, it uses the security system of a different chain. So rollups on Ethereum use Ethereum, and rollups on Bitcoin will use Bitcoin. And what that means is that when you're transacting or building on a Bitcoin rollup, every single transaction you make gets aggregated with all of the other transactions and turned into a Bitcoin transaction. So every single transaction you're making is actually a Bitcoin transaction, just much faster and much cheaper and with more functions. And so what we're basically building is a tool which allows more people to use Bitcoin more seamlessly, but keep the same security that they would have had otherwise.
All right, thank you so much.
Hey, Dora, are you there? Dora?
Yeah, I am. Hello, Yago. So I'm just like, how has life been after the post halving? I know you have really elaborated a lot, but I just want to know what do you feel about the post halving and what kind of new technology you think we could see more on the chain?
Well, my view is that this halving is both very similar and both very different at the same time to every single halving that we've seen up until now. It's the same in that it's basically the kickoff moment for the next bull run. And that's not going to happen overnight. We're going to see the price go up a little bit and the price go down a little bit, the price go up a little bit and the price go down a little bit. We'll see volumes increase, but only slowly. But the overall trajectory is going to be up from this point on. And we're going to see that momentum grow so that 6 months from now, we will be in a full-blown bull market. I think the way it's different is that every single market up until now has had a different narrative. You know, if it was ICOs or DeFi or altcoins, every single market had its own narrative. But this market is different because it's going to be a new narrative and an old narrative at the same time. The new old narrative is going to be Bitcoin, because the biggest change that has happened in crypto is that Bitcoin can now do anything. And so what we're going to see is the major flow of funds and flow of users this time around is a flow of funds and users from the ETF, from the traditional world, from people who aren't in crypto yet into Bitcoin, but also a flow of funds, a flow of users, a flow of applications from Solana, Ethereum, Avalanche, BSC, Polygon into Bitcoin as well. And so we're going to see a flow of funds into Bitcoin in a way that we've never seen before from two different directions. And in many ways, I think that possibly makes this the biggest and most important halving event we've ever had.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Dora, for your question. So, Yago, I think we are enough for now. We got our desired winners, and I think we covered everything. So we have to wrap this session. But do you have anything else, like anything to say before wrapping this session? Any closing statement?
Well, I think it's great that people are informing themselves. Everyone who's on this call is early. But I think people don't even realize how early they are. The game hasn't even really begun. The game begins when Bitcoin gets all the capabilities, because then the network effects of Bitcoin will shine through, and Bitcoin basically will go through its second revolution. The first revolution, of course, was when Satoshi introduced Bitcoin. The second revolution hasn't even started yet. And that's how early we are. The actual Bitcoin market hasn't even begun to grow. And so there's a huge amount of opportunity. And I think I'd encourage all of the people on this call to follow Sovryn, follow me, follow other people who are talking about these kinds of things, and continue to educate yourselves. Because if Bitcoin has taught us one thing, it's that the opportunity is life changing, right? It changes your ability to be in control of your finances. It changes your ability to make decisions regardless of what capital controls exist in your country. It changes your ability to engage in the global economy, but it also changes your life by allowing you to earn, put your money to work, make earnings, and see a return or an increase in the value of your capital and your savings that really hasn't been available up until now anywhere else. And I think this is only accelerating. A lot of people think we're at the end. I think we're only at the beginning. So my overall message, I think, to everyone is a very, very optimistic one. There's a huge opportunity ahead of all of us to take control of our financial lives. And the one place that has been safe for the last 15 years, the one ecosystem which hasn't disappointed, is Bitcoin. And so I'd encourage everyone to, not get confused by the marketing and the flashiness of other ecosystems, because with all of that marketing and all of that flashiness and all of that speculation, Bitcoin has always been and will continue to be the most profitable, most significant, most reliable ecosystem. And Sovryn is helping to make that a reality, and I think has been for the last 3 years the leader in bringing new capabilities to Bitcoin. And also Sovryn is really, really just getting started.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. And also thank you all of our contributors for having here. And stay tuned, join their Sovereign community if you want to learn more, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, best wishes to your Sovereign for the future. Have a great day. Bye everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Stay sovereign.